Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 horror comedy Blackstock Boneyard, a film that is directed by Andre Alfa and it stars Ashley Whelan, Terry Millam, Brittany Lucio, Sarah Morgan, Richie Stephens and Laura Flannery. Now this film starts off, it focuses on two wealthy black men about 100 years ago who are wrongfully committed for murder. And essentially what is going on, it's like a power play. There are those scrupulous down in South Carolina where they live who are after their land. So they are framed for murder, electrocuted, and then the film then shoots forward 100 years. And we have a character who has been contacted by Blackstock in South Carolina. She has to go down there because she's got a long lost relative, and there is some property there that she needs to sign on the dotted line, and she will be a wealthy woman. However, what she doesn't realise is she's also being manipulated by the local judge and solicitor. Very similar to 100 years ago. It's another power play, and these deceased brothers are not going to stand for it, so they decide to come back from the grave to reap their revenge on the locals that wronged them so many years previously. Right, what are my thoughts on Blackstock Boneyard? Well, for me, this film reminded me a great deal of Candyman and The Fog. So it's almost like a cross between Candyman and The Fog here. The Fog, in regards to, you know, them sailors that come back like 100 years later that have been wronged, to take their revenge on the locals. It's a very similar story here, and there is much of this film I thought was actually pretty good. I thought the story was good. If you like slasher films, like supernatural slasher films, there is actually quite a lot here to enjoy. It's a solid story. Like, these revenge tales are always solid. They always work reasonably well, and some of the kills are really quite I hesitate to say gory, but certainly quite inventive and entertaining to watch if you like, you know, low budget slasher films type thing. The issues with this film is some of the performances really don't help the film. They lack emotion. They're like some really tense scenes that require a little bit more emotion from the actors, and you don't really get it. There's a relationship develops between the central character and another local who is, and they are both related to the case 100 years ago. She's related to a woman that was part of the power play, and he's related, he's a long lost relative of these two wealthy brothers that were executed. So there's like a relationship develops between them. Unfortunately for me, there was no chemistry or spark between them, and I just didn't buy it, which was a real shame. And some of the other characters as well, some of the performances could have been a little bit better. Some of the scenes as well, where they're trying to set up these really intense scenes where, you know, these two supernatural brothers have come back from the dead and they're booting doors open and scaring everyone to death sort of thing. And there's a couple of scenes it turns a little bit slapstick. You know, they make the presence known by booting down a door or something like that. And all the characters in the room kind of are shocked and scared and kind of scatter in different directions, and it looked a bit farcical, a little bit like a comedy almost. And it was just a little bit generic as well in regards to this girl coming to the town to sign these legal papers. She brings three of her friends with her. Now, I thought they were going to be a more integral part of the film, these friends, certainly, and they weren't really. They were essentially just there, the cannon fodder, basically. And they were all very generic. You know, you've got the entitled ones, you've got the sensible one, and then the weak one, which is the main one, who always gets stepped on. And, you know, it doesn't take you long to figure out who the final girl's going to be in this film. So there's no surprises really here. Everything that you think is going to happen fairly early on, the film delivers. That's not always a bad thing, but it would have benefited, I think, from a couple of little surprises here and there. And there was a weird scene as well where one of the characters in the film commits suicide. It's almost like she's kind of like, well, it's over. I'm gonna die anyway, and then they commit suicide. It's just a bizarre scene. I've never really seen anything like it. They just kind of give up hope and think, oh well, I'll just kill myself, shall I? And that, if that was going to be the case, I think they could have built that up better. A character, you know, sacrificing themselves for somebody else. It would have been far more impactful than the scene they actually give us. What we actually got was just a bit odd and weird and didn't seem to fit at all. Yeah, so the film itself is watchable. There are problems with it. Some of the performances, etc. It's pretty predictable. But if you like these kind of revenge slashers, you know, that you could do far worse than this one. I'm actually going to give this one a 5 out of 10. Certainly watchable, but there are better ones on the market. So that is my review for Blackstock Boneyard. I hope you liked it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back on the channel with more reviews and content very, very soon.